Just ahead of the first phase of UP elections, a jolt for the Congress when one of its prominent leaders from the state, RPN Singh, quit the party and announced his switch to the BJP ahead of the elections. He's likely to contest the UP polls from his stronghold Kushinagar, from where he's been elected an MLA thrice and an MP once in 2009. He may face off with Swami Prasad Maurya, another OBC leader who recently switched from the BJP to the Samajwadi Party. The Congress's first response was that cowards couldn't be part of their fight.
बहुत सालों से, बहुत समय से तमाम लोग मुझसे कहते थे कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी में आपको जाना चाहिए। बहुत समय से सोचा, पर अंत में यही कह सकता हूं प्रधान जी, देर आए दुरुस्त आए।
One of the Congress's prominent faces in UP crossing over to the BJP as campaigning picks up.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने प्राचीन संस्कृति को 21वीं सदी से जोड़कर हिंदुस्तान को राष्ट्र के निर्माण में जो कार्य किया है, पूरा देश उसको सराह रहा है। 32 सालों तक मैं एक पार्टी में रहा, ईमानदारी से, लगन से मेहनत किया, परंतु जिस पार्टी में इतने साल रहा, वो अब वो पार्टी रह नहीं गई जहां मैंने शुरुआत की थी, और ना तो वो सोच रह गई।
The Congress hit back, saying that it needs courage, not cowards, and denied it was a reflection of the Gandhi's leadership.
To fight a battle as strongly pitched as this one, you have to fight it with courage, you have to fight it with a lot of dedication. And like Priyanka ji has said, you need to be on your toes, you need to be full of courage. You cannot be a coward and fight this battle.
Singh is the third ex-Congress minister to have crossed over to the BJP. Jyotiraditya Scindia was made a central minister and Jitin Prasad a minister in UP.
चले गए, कोई बात नहीं है। जो लड़ने वाले होंगे वो रुकेंगे, संघर्ष करने वाले वो होंगे वो रुकेंगे, जिनको ईडी सीबीआई का डर होगा वो चले जाएंगे।
मेरे लिए तो बड़े अत्यंत प्रसन्नता की बात है। जब से मैं 2004 लोकसभा आया, तब से मैं सिंधिया जी के पीछे पड़ा हुआ था कि सिंधिया जी आप सही नेता गलत जगह पे हो। ऐसे ही मैं एक दो बार आरपीएन सिंह जी जब भारत सरकार में शायद नॉर्थ ब्लॉक में बैठते थे, तब मैं उनको एक बार हमारी इलाके की कुछ प्रसंगों लेके गया था। फिर भी उनको भी बहुत मेरा मित्रता नहीं था, तब भी मैंने कहा था कि आप जैसे व्यक्ति नरेंद्र मोदी जी के साथ होनी चाहिए, देश को आगे ले जानी चाहिए। आज इसीलिए मैं बहुत दोनों को धन्यवाद देता हूं। सिंधिया जी पहले आ गए थे और आरपीएन सिंह जी जैसे व्यक्ति भारतीय जनता पार्टी में आना, मोदी जी की नेतृत्व को स्वीकार करना, ये एक शुभ संकेत है।
RPN Singh was the Congress's in charge of Jharkhand and is an OBC leader from eastern UP's Padrona. Some say the BJP may field him against current Padrona MLA and long-time rival Swami Prasad Maurya, also an OBC who crossed over from the BJP to Akhilesh Yadav's Samajwadi Party recently, though Maurya's candidature is yet to be announced. Mr. Singh has a vast experience in electoral politics. He was a 3-term MLA and also won the 2009 Lok Sabha polls from eastern UP's Kushinagar on a Congress ticket, defeating his long-time rival Swami Prasad Maurya, who was contesting on a BSP ticket. But 2009 was also Mr. Singh's last electoral victory. Soon after tweeting this resignation letter to Sonia Gandhi on Twitter, RPN Singh tweeted on a new beginning under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, BJP President JP Nadda and Home Minister Amit Shah.
But none of these three leaders were on stage during Mr. Singh's joining. The party's state top leadership, except Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, was present, perhaps pointing to a role for Mr. Singh in the upcoming UP Assembly elections.
For the Congress, RPN Singh's leaving is being seen as another jolt before the crucial state election. Although last week Priyanka Gandhi Vadra said she made no effort to retain those who wanted to leave.
I didn't feel the need to stop them because I felt that the kind of battle we're fighting it's a very tough and rough battle.
But it's not just the three ex-ministers. There are also leaders like Raebareli MLA Aditi Singh and the Congress's face for its women-centric campaign in UP, Priyanka Maurya, who have left. Question is, will the new defections help the BJP counter the high-profile defections they recently suffered? With Arvind Gunashekhar, Sanket Upadhyay and camera person Vineet Verma, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
Now, Swami Prasad Maurya, in an interview to NDTV, questioned RPN's status as an OBC leader, claiming he is a Raja of Padrona and he's someone who's been born in a palace, that he is not a leader who can fight for the OBCs.
रतनजीत प्रताप नारायण सिंह कांग्रेस छोड़ बीजेपी में चले गए हैं, आपकी पुरानी पार्टी। सबसे पहले तो आपकी पहली प्रतिक्रिया।
आरपीएन सिंह जी वहां के ऐसे चेहरे हैं जिसको सब जानते हैं कि राजा साहब हैं, राजमहल में रहते हैं, वहां दरबार लगता है, बिना उनकी अनुमति के कोई परिंदा पर नहीं मार सकता है। आप सर्टिफिकेट उनको भले ओबीसी दे दें, लेकिन वो राजा साहब हैं और राजमहल में पैदा हुए हैं, राज दरबार उनका चलता है और उनकी पहचान वहां ओबीसी से नहीं है, राजा से है। और राजाओं की कोई जात नहीं होती है, राजाओं की जात केवल राजा होती है। उनका रिश्ता भी राजाओं के यहाँ होता है, किसी सामान्य किसी बैकवर्ड जात के व्यक्ति क्या नहीं होता। कांग्रेस में आरपीएन सिंह की हैसियत बहुत बड़ी थी, भारतीय जनता पार्टी में आने से उनकी हैसियत छोटी हुई है। आज ऐसे समय पे आरपीएन सिंह जी आए हैं जिस समय भारतीय जनता पार्टी की खटिया खड़ी बिस्तरा गोल हो रहा है, लुटिया डूब रही है, आज सत्ता से बाहर जा रहे हैं, ऐसे समय पे आए हैं।
All right, let's move away from politics now and get to the latest COVID data and a look at daily cases which have dipped below 3 lakh after 5 days. Daily cases 2,55,874 and that's down by 16.39%. Deaths are up 614 deaths, up by 39.8%. If we take a look at testing too has increased. That's a welcome change, 11.82%, and vaccinations are down by 5.5%. The positivity rate is now 15.52%. Health Minister Mansukh Mandaviya today met with states and union territories, including states heading to elections, and he flagged 3 big concerns: the decline in quality testing, data emerging from the states, and how COVID emergency funds were being used.
The Health Minister held a meeting today with 9 states and union territories, including 3 poll-bound states, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Punjab. The Minister flagged 3 key concerns: the falling proportion of the gold standard RT-PCR tests, slow use of COVID emergency funds by states, and the need for states to share data such as bed availability, occupancy and oxygen use in a timely manner with the centre, to ensure that government decisions are data informed. Ladakh topped the testing rates for all states in attendance, at 2.1 lakh tests per 1 lakh population. Delhi was next at 1.7 lakh tests per 1 lakh population. Jammu and Kashmir at 1.6 lakh, Himachal Pradesh at 82.6 thousand, Chandigarh at 82.6 thousand, Uttarakhand at 81.6 thousand, Punjab at 58.8 thousand, Haryana at 54.5 thousand, Uttar Pradesh at 43.6 thousand. IIT experts that the government consults say that their modelling shows that the third wave could start to decline by this month end or early February.
हमारा अंदाज है कि भारत की तीसरी लहर या तो कल अधिकतम स्तर पे थी, नहीं तो आज या कल में आ जाएगी। और अधिकतम स्तर डेली केसेस के हिसाब से देखें तो 3.5 लाख के आसपास गया था कुछ दिन पहले, वहीं तक रहेगा, उससे अधिक नहीं बढ़ेगा। और ये लहर अब कुछ समय बाद ही समाप्त हो जाएगी।
While India's overall cases are likely to fall in the coming days according to them, some states will take some time to reach their peak. These include Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. At the same time, cases in Delhi, Mumbai and Bihar have already reached their peak and begun to fall.
Different waves are driven by different variants of the coronavirus. The Omicron wave may be ending, but what we know so far is that there will be more variants and we cannot be caught off guard. With Parimal Kumar, Meher Pandey for NDTV.
Let's focus now on Thiruvananthapuram, that has a shockingly high positivity rate of 50%. It's got the strictest restrictions now in Kerala, which have been imposed to ensure that hospitals don't get overburdened.
Gyms, theatres closed in Thiruvananthapuram, gatherings banned, but still visible this long queue with no social distancing for outpatients during COVID times at the General Hospital, leaving some fuming. Thiruvananthapuram, according to the state government, is now the worst affected district in Kerala with a Category C notification and the strictest restrictions in the state. Officials say the main criteria being the increase in hospitalization, with 4.5% of active cases hospitalized in the state capital compared to the state average of 3.8%, and not the test positivity rate, which is around 50%. A move aimed to stop burdening hospitals as infection among hospital staff is on the rise.
During the last wave, that means the Delta wave, and it was like April, May and all, we had almost like 1,000 beds occupied, and almost the ICU occupancy was also high, more than 200 at that time. At that time, we had almost similar number of cases across the Kerala, like 45,000 per day. At this point of time, we have like 196 cases, and 18 of them in the ICU, and even out of in the ICU, most of them have much comorbidities, not much COVID bronchopneumonia.
Another major concern is the fast spread of infection among hospital staff. At Thiruvananthapuram Medical College itself, around 20% of the hospital staff is in home isolation. But officials say the relatively less hospital admissions when compared to the COVID wave 2 and the faster recoveries have for now brought in some respite. With camera person SP Babu, Sneha Koshi for NDTV.
Well, let's take a look at the economy now, and the IMF's latest growth forecast for India. It has said that Omicron is likely to hit India's growth this year, and India GDP likely to grow at 9% both in the current year and the next. In fact, the IMF has downgraded India's growth forecast for the current year. It's down by 0.5% to 9%, and it's upgraded the growth forecast for next year by 0.5% up to 9%. And the Indian equity benchmarks today finished in the green, snapping a 5-session losing streak led by strong buying interest in banking stocks. The 30-share BSE Sensex rose 367 points or 0.64% to settle at 57,858 in a highly volatile trading session, while the broader NSE Nifty moved 129 points, up by 0.75% to close at 17,278. The Supreme Court today refused to grant interim relief on a plea challenging the government's refusal to renew licenses needed to receive funding from abroad for 6,000 NGOs. The court was hearing a plea filed by the US-based NGO Global Peace Initiative that said the cancellation of licenses could impact the COVID relief efforts by these NGOs. The court said the NGOs can make representations to the authorities and they can take a call. Mumbai today faced an unusually cold day as light rain and chilly winds swept through the city. The minimum temperature dropped to 13.4 degrees Celsius in the morning, and it just wasn't the cold. There was also severe air pollution caused by a dust storm from the Gulf region. Saurabh Gupta reports.
At around 13 degrees, Mumbai felt unusually cold this morning and saw record levels of air pollution. The cold led to several memes and jokes on social media. Congress leader Milind Deora said Mumbai was so chilly this morning that he stepped out wearing a fully buttoned woolen bandi.
It's been the coldest I feel in the last 3-4 years. We're also carrying hoodies to our work, so it's quite exciting. I'm also going cycling at night, so it's the best time to cycle in Bombay right now.
Mumbai's temperatures have fallen to as low as 10 degrees in the last decade, and the temperatures have dropped to around 13 degrees for the last few days because of a western disturbance.
It moves from west to east. That's why it is called. It originates in the west and moves gradually towards the east. And if the western disturbance is very strong, then if there is deep trough, then even Gujarat, northern part of Gujarat, or even our northern part of Maharashtra also gets this kind of cloudy weather.
But the bigger worry for Mumbai was the sharp fall in air quality over the last 48 hours. The air quality index jumped to over 500, which is categorized as severe. Severe air quality can have respiratory impact even on healthy people and serious health impacts on people with lung and heart disease. The air quality dropped due to a dust storm which originated in the Gulf region and travelled over Afghanistan, and unusually intensified and impacted Mumbai after crossing the Arabian Sea. The cold conditions made it worse.
On 24th, it has entered in Mumbai and polluted all the air all around from Pune up to Ahmedabad. The maximum impact was at the entry point in Arabian Sea near Mumbai, and air quality has gone to severe. Now the conditions are going to be recovering. Such dust storm normally does not persist for a longer time.
It's very dusty outside. Scooty पे भी जाते तो पूरा mask पहनना पड़ता है, पूरा cover करना पड़ता है because of the dust. But हाँ, hoping के अभी सब ठीक हो जाए, थोड़ा clear हो जाए air.
The air quality has improved considerably over the day, and the situation is expected to return to normal by tomorrow. But the fact that a dust storm that started in the Gulf and travelled all the way from there can cause such pollution in Mumbai is something that has left citizens shocked. In Mumbai with camera person Ashok Mahadik, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.